I think the inspiration really to want to read this book came from the fact that we recently watched Shogun. And I don't know if you have watched Shogun. It is fantastic. It is such a good show, and the Japanese inspiration from that story really struck a chord with me. So I've been dying to pick up either the Sword of Kaigen or Shogun, which I have on my Kindle. So I'm gonna start Sword of Kaigen and see how it goes. And I don't know, maybe I'll flip-flop between that and Shogun and just read two things at once. We'll see how it goes, how much this book just really compels me to read. I've heard really great things. I know a lot of people really have loved the Sword of Kaigen, and they say that it is a great sword battle book. Hopefully I love it as much. I'm not a huge fan of battles and fighting scenes. I'm more interested in character development and internal battles. Let's give it a go. What is on my face? Oh. Hi.
No, she thinks you're casting a reflection. Come here. Come here, bear dog. Bear dog. He thinks you're doing the same thing. Come here. Come here, bear dog. Ah.
It's good. Did you try it?
Mm-hmm.
You like it? What are you doing, baby girl? I got dog food on. Do I lick my fingers? Oh my god. Time to make the gravy. Time to make the gravy. Oh, Lisa. I won't be rude. You hungry? You starving? It's go time. I'm about to sit down and read, so I just wanted to give a quick update on my progress on the Sword of Kaigen. I am almost 200 pages in. This is just over 600 pages. This is about the Matsuda family, and they are a legendary family. They're legendary for their ability to manipulate the water element and their sword fighting. This so far has mainly focused on the son. His name is Mamoru, and the mother, whose name is Misaki. This reads, at least at the start, reads a lot like a fable. So there is lots of embedded moral lessons, talk about propaganda. The rulers bend the truth in order to fit the narrative that they want to keep the people of their region working and operating in a certain way. The abilities that the people in this story have are control of the elements. They have different abilities. They specialize in certain abilities. And so the Matsuda family and Misaki, they can bend the water element to their will. So they can make a sword out of water and can take the water out of the air and use it to soften their landing. It's actually very interesting and unique the way M.L. Wang has written this into the story. The prose is very simple and easy to read. It almost reads YA in some aspects because it is so simply written. I feel the connection with the characters, especially Mitsuki, because you get a glimpse of her in the present day where she is a mother. You know, she has 4 young boys. She reveals that she did this out of a sense of duty to her family and her people. It flashes back to her time when she was in school and the things that she accomplished at a young age, now having to live in her husband's shadow and her struggle to feel a connection with her children. There's a strong emphasis on the female roles within society and how, especially within the Japanese culture at the time, this is like a traditional old school samurai type Japanese culture. At least that's the impression that I'm getting so far, because the female roles are very much that they are meant to be in the home as a wife and a mother, a caregiver, and not in a warrior role. Suki, who is a badass female, has struggled with having to give up that lifestyle to live a life in a marriage that she did not choose and to a husband that she respects but does not love. It's a very compelling read. I'm super interested in where the story is headed. One of the things that is key in this story is Mamoru's realization that the history that he's been taught, the history of his people, is not true, it's false, and that they were not the champions of the big war that happened in the past. So his acceptance of that and his struggle to find out more without disrespecting his family, because his family is such a legendary and important figurehead within his culture. He's trying to find out where his path is in this, and you can see that there is trouble brewing under the surface. And we love trouble, but that is the great thing about this book, as she definitely weaves the external battles, the sword fighting and the battle skills, but also you get a really good look, a really good glimpse at these internal battles that they are struggling with, and I love that. Great character development. The way that this author writes the sword fighting and the physical battles, it is so...
How can I describe this?
It's so fluid. It is not so technically written. Yeah, I don't know. It's so easy to read and consuming. It's so good. I can see why everybody loves it. I'll check back in as I make more progress.
See you soon, guys. Bye.
These are the books that I hope to get to in 2025. The Canticle of Leibowitz, Memories of Ice by Stephen Erickson, The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. This is actually the Broken Binding collection edition. It's beautiful, as most of their books are. The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. in Ascension by Martin McInnes, Time's Arrow by Martin Amis, Caliban's War, which is book 2 in the Expanse series, Eiffelheim by Michael Flynn, Ubik by Philip K. Dick, Revelation Space, Ascension by Nicholas Binge, Ursula K. Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness, The Remains of the Day by Kazu Ishiguro, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. These are the books coming out in 2025 that I hope to read. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I've read How to Sell a Haunted House. I thought it was a fantastic book. It was super creepy, gave me vibes from my childhood. A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. That comes out on January 7th. Shroud by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which comes out on February 27th. The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig, which is released on April 29th. The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence, which releases on April 8th. This is the one book that I am the most excited for, hands down, without a doubt. This is book 7, the final book in the Sun Eater series, Shadows Upon Time by Christopher Rocchio. The release date is to be determined, but they are saying hopefully at the end of 2025. There is no cover for this as of yet, as far as I'm aware. And this is going to wrap up the series. If you have watched my channel, what a fan of this series I am. I cannot recommend it enough. If you like science fiction or fantasy, this series is the most amazing series I've ever read. His writing is superb. The Jackal's Mystery by Chris Bahalajan. I've read several of this author's books, and they have never disappointed. He is a fantastic writer. The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren, a first book in a new series. The series is going to be called The Improbable Meet Cute. I love Christina Lauren's writing. I'm not a huge romance reader in general, but I do find her books really check that box for me. And if I was ever going to recommend a romance book to anyone, it would be one of Christina Lauren's books. Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This is supposed to be released on August 26th. I'm excited for it. I've actually already pre-ordered it. The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. This releases on May 13th. So that's my list for 2025. Tell me if there's any new releases that I missed that you are particularly excited about, and let's talk about it. I was actually able to run on Wednesday for 30 minutes without any knee pain. I was so excited to be able to run again. I actually really love to run. I don't know why. I know a lot of people hate it, but often while I'm running, I hate it, but I totally love the challenge of it or something. I feel so accomplished when I'm done. I'm glad that my knee has been feeling better. I'm gonna try for a 45-minute endurance run today, and let's hope that I don't have any pain. Because when I ran on Wednesday, I did a interval run, so I was running faster. And so I don't know if that, and since this is an endurance run, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe like the running faster warms my knee up better, and I don't know. So we'll see. I'll have to let you know how it goes. This is just a slow run, and I will update you later because I'm now about 2/3 of the way through Sword of Kaigen. And you guys, I am loving it. It's making me feel all the feelings. It's so emotionally charged. I can totally understand why everybody loves it. Anyway, I'll fill you in on that later. Let's just run.
The blazing you before us.
Here. Let me intervene here and give you a better synopsis of the story. Before I sat down to read, this is one of those books where I just get so caught up in it while I'm reading it, and the pages just seemingly fly by, which I love. It doesn't feel like a chore. It's something that I am eager to get into, and so yeah, a great way to spend my weekend. I don't know if you are familiar, but the Sword of Kaigen actually was the winner of the SPFBO in 2020, SPFBO 5, and is considered a military fantasy that is rooted deeply in East Asian cultural influences, particularly Japanese martial arts and traditions. I love the way she really digs deep into Misaki's character. You get to see her past and present, the way she makes these choices, that she gives up everything that she loves in order to follow her family's tradition and to respect her family's choices for her. And then she struggles to find that connection even after giving birth to her own children. And even as she begins to find that connection with them, that motherly love, and, something she had been lacking for most of her time being a mother, at least for her first child, she starts to find that connection and that bond, and then suddenly tragedy strikes. And while she is able to find beauty in death, as I think a lot of Japanese warriors do and will say, she also then struggles to come to terms with, this piece of her in her life. I'm just really, really loving this. The way that she makes you feel for these characters is exactly what I look for in a book, and she has succeeded wholeheartedly. I have no idea where the story's going at this point, and I love that. I love when an author can surprise me and keep me guessing, and then she's done that. She's doing that. So I'm hoping it's Saturday at about 11. I have like a little over 200 pages to go. So I'm hoping to finish it this weekend. That would be great. I've been thinking about what I want to read next, and I don't know if I want to read Lonesome Dove or if I want to pick up something sci-fi. All I know is that I'm super happy to have gotten out of my slump and really have been able to find the joy in reading again. And I look forward to reading now again, which I was missing for a while there. It got to be very mechanical, very just going through the motions, especially when I was doing more of the challenges, which, I enjoy challenges because it does help me to read outside of my natural gravitational pull towards certain books. But also at times it can make it feel more like a job than a hobby. So I want to try to avoid that. Going forward, I'm going to very much stick with my mood reading and maybe just give myself some prompts to follow. I will keep you posted. Bye. I wanted to throw in here really quick the fact that I really like how this author talks about coming to terms with your own death and being able to reconcile that without much strife or turmoil, but then coming to terms with the death of those that you love is so much more. It's a bigger, more all-encompassing hurdle. I think that she handles that really well in this story, and it feels so raw and visceral. Yeah, I think it's really, really well done. So I was just watching Witty Novels, and she was talking about, damn it, there's a freaking plane. Hold on. Let's try this again. So I was watching Witty Novels, and she was talking about reading Little Women, and I thought about the fact that I did not read any of my classics last year, and how great an idea it would be for me to actually read Little Women this year. So that's, I think, going to be added to my shelf, and also, or not to my shelf, but to my 26 to read in 2025. Maybe 27, because here's another one. I missed the book 2 in James Islington's The Will of the Many series is supposed to come out in 2025, and I completely forgot about that one. So there's another one. Yet I'm hoping to limit my book buying this year, maybe just to the ones that I mentioned as far as new releases. That's, I think, a great idea because I went way overboard in 2024 and then hit a major slump, so I didn't even make a dent. We are out here with the dogs. It's a bit breezy and cold, so we're gonna hurry up, do this, and then go inside and have some lunch and some ice cream, because why not? Let's wrap up the Sword of Kaigen. Testing. Making sure my mic is on. I literally just finished this moments ago. This is probably somewhere in the range of like a 4.5 star. It's not quite a 5 star, mainly because of a little bit of pacing issues. It was a little slow to start and a little bit slow to end. I think it had its purpose because it offered her a lot of opportunity for character development. She really used that time well. I love the main character, Misaki. She is badass warrior chick. Her battles are what really pull the story along. There are a lot of embedded moral lessons all throughout. Not only that, but there are a lot of elements that are relevant to our own current world and situations, such as what your government chooses to inform you of, how the media feeds into or plays into these lies and roles and misinformation in order to perpetrate a storyline that they feel it serves them the best, not necessarily the people the best. There are several villains in this story. You have the obvious villain, the Ranganese, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, as well as the Empire, and also her husband, who plays a big role of a villain in this story. Not only because they play the role of tormentors, liars, but they challenge Misaki and her values and her beliefs, her family's traditions and her heritage. Really interesting to see that play out and to see her change. It happens slowly and subtly. You definitely feel her pain, her suffering, her happiness, coming to terms with the life that she's cultivated. I really love that. I didn't necessarily love the character arc of the husband. To me, it felt a little bit too far-fetched, not quite believable, because it's just so big. He does basically a complete 180, and to me that says that, his character itself was not very true or definite. I totally can see why this won the SPFBO competition, this being her, I will fact check this, but I think this was her debut novel, a self-published debut novel. She nailed it. The only other critique that I would say, and I say this often because I think it is something that so many authors nowadays forget to include, but that is including the sensory details in order to fully develop your world. The chaos or the beauty. You have 5 senses. You have your sight, your sound, your smell, your taste, your touch. In order for your readers to fully immerse themselves in your world, you do them the benefit of adding all 5 senses. Not in such a structured way, you're checking off a list in each paragraph, but sprinkled throughout at the appropriate times when they are valuable. There was a lot of action in this story and tension, and she did all those things right, including just a little bit more of those sensory details. Could have really benefited the overall immersion that I felt anyway. I loved the battle scenes, they were great. And for someone who is not a huge fan of military battle scene based books, I thought this was done superbly. It was done so well that I thoroughly enjoyed reading the battles. I would highly recommend this. If you're a fantasy lover, if you're interested in Japanese traditional culture, if you like sword fighting, if you like superhuman powers, then this This is a great, great book. Super easy to read. I flew through this 600-page chunker in no time. It was not one of those books that you have to muddle through and reread sentences, and it was all very easy, uncomplicated. Go read The Sword of Kaigen. Hazel says, go read it. Hazel, 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 say, go read it. Go read The Sword of Kaigen. She's going to read it. So that's going to wrap up this vlog. I hope you had as much fun as I did with my experience reading this book. I will see you in the next one. I have a really fun video planned next. So stay tuned for that, and see you soon. Bye!